Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Creating Dream Life. Today I'm going to talk about the power of believing in your dreams. Now, I am not an expert in this field and I'm not a life coach either. I am just speaking based on my own experience. I would like to share you my story about how my childhood was like. I grew up poor in one of the provinces in the Philippines with my grandparents. I was only 5 years old at that time and there were three of us kids. So my mom, having no job, no source of income whatsoever, had no choice but to go back to her parents in the province. And we're talking about a 70-year-old and an 80-year-old parents at that time. So she took me and my younger brother, who was only a few months old. I believe he was only 5 or 6 months old at that time. She left the second one, the one next to me, someone else's care. Until these days, we have no confirmation as to where she is and who she is. And I still believe that in my heart that one day we will get reunited with her as a family, God's time. After that, she left me at my grandparents' care. I was only probably 5 years old at that time. She must have promised me something that she would come back for me because I found myself sitting in the balcony of my grandparents' house every 5 o'clock in the afternoon waiting for her. When I was waiting for her at that time, every time I was always daydreaming of a better life. Big house, nice things. One recurring vision that I had when I was sitting there is that of me wearing a business suit, holding an attache case, standing at the door side of a maroon sedan car. Oh my goodness, I was a very successful woman, looks like. And that was the vision that I had almost actually every single day. I would daydream of anything else like big house, nice things, nice clothing, yummy food. But that one, almost like a daily kind of a vision. Every time I sat down there, I would always have that imagination in my head. Me being a successful woman. Our life in the mountain was not easy, okay? But I never did complain. We had no running water, no electricity. There was no car. The fact that I envisioned a car in my head, I must have seen it somewhere in the city before I went to my grandparents' house. So we walked to school with all my cousins, and the walk is probably around 2 hours, and we walk barefoot, especially in the rainy season because it's really hard to have something on your feet when you're walking in the slippery trails. There was no road, only trails. We walked to school with our school supplies in a grocery bag. Our backpacks is a grocery bag or a net bag. And what little school supplies we had was maybe a pad of paper, a couple of notebooks, or a pencil and a pen. That's it. And for our lunchbox, we used banana leaves. So we wrap our cooked ground corn with our banana leaves, and we would be lucky if we have like maybe one single tiny dried fish in it, or if not, just a salt just to put a taste in it. And sometimes if we run out of corn, we have like a plantain or a sweet potato for lunch. And to replenish my school supplies, I would bring fruits. I would bring fruits from the mountains like bananas, star apples, anything that I could trade with my classmates for a piece of paper or a piece of pencil. So that's how I replenish my school supplies for the whole year. In the Philippines, first grade, you're supposed to be 7 years old, but I was already in first grade at 6. And imagine a 6-year-old walking steep hills, mountains, and valleys, and raging rivers from flash floods. Like we literally have like people waiting for us in the other side of the river to make sure that all the kids are crossing the river safely. We were very poor, but deep inside me, I always had the dream of having a better life, nice things, nice house, nice cars, and it never went away. That dream kept me going, and I truly believe in my heart that I was going to get it. For me, in my little head, I know that the only way to get to where I wanted to be is to get an education. So I was going to get that education no matter what. So the thing about being a child is like, I never thought of anything that could happen to me, like, for example, my grandma and grandpa, they were pretty old, and I would never thought of like maybe that they were gonna die and I was gonna be left alone. I never did thought of that because I know in my heart that whatever happens, I'm gonna be just fine. For some reason, I had that strong faith in me from the very beginning that I'll be just fine. I'll be okay, and I will do great in life. Actually, I did. So, when my grandma died, that was my very first taste of real pain of losing someone you loved. I could still remember till this day. It's like the pain. It's indescribable. And after a year later, my grandpa also followed. So he died. So here I was. I was only 12 years old, being left completely alone in this world. But then that dream kept me going, having a better life, a good life. I was really thinking of having that in my life because I really, really wanted that. I wanted to get out. I could not see myself living in that place. You see, I always believed that God was watching me every day, watching me the whole time in my life's journey because I always find help. So school was already free for me. So all I needed was food and lodging and I could go to school. And I found this couple who took me in exchange of me working for them. Actually, this couple became my family, stronger than my real bloodline. After my grandparents died, I went to them and I lived with them for 4 years, the entire high school life. So my day would start at 4 o'clock in the morning and I would do the laundry by hand. Everything is by hand, people. It's like, unlike here, everything we just throw in the washing machine and then we're done. Over there in the Philippines, we wash by hand. Every single piece of clothing, we wash it by hand. So my day would start at 4 o'clock to get the laundry done. And then I would sweep the entire yard because the house is surrounded with big mango trees. And there were leaves all over every time. So I would sweep that whole yard, back, front, side, every single day. After that, I would go fetch water from the well. There was no running water in that house. Make like 10 trips of that. And I would carry 2 pails full, one in each hand. I would carry those pails full of water up in the hill to the piggery, because if you don't clean a piggery even just for one day, oh my goodness, God knows how bad the smell would be. So I would make like 10 trips in the morning to make sure that there's also enough water for midday cleanup. So I was very strong. So I think that's the reason why I'm like naturally strong from that, because I was doing that for years. And on top of that, I would also fetch water for the plants. There were so many plants around the house and I had to water them every day. And after that, I would run quickly to the neighbor's faucet to clean myself, and I would bring home 4 gallons of drinking water, 2 gallons in each hand. After that, I would rush going to school because our school would lock the gate after a flag ceremony. So I was always rushing. And during recess time, I had no money to buy anything. So I would just, while the other kids are enjoying their snacks, their food, playing around, being a kid, I would go sit down in a school garden. I would watch the plants. For some reason, watching the plants swinging in the air brings me joy. It brings me joy watching them because for me, it's the sight of God's love. I felt God's love right there. Plants are swinging. The God cares about the plants. He would care about me too. How much more me? It brings me peace and joy in my heart. Sometimes my cousin would join me there whenever she had no money. When she had money, she would never come to me because she never shared her food. I forgive her. After school, I would do it all over again. I would go rush home while the other kids are dinking around, playing and being a kid. I would go rush home and do my job all over again. Every day, my little tiny body is sore, but I never did complain. Never did complain. There was only one thing in my mind, and I was always eyeing on that prize. My dream. So every time I'm exhausted, and it was just like every day, like very sore. By the time I could sit down, it's probably around 8 o'clock at night. I never complained about my torn hand-me-down clothes going to school. I never complained about my shoes with big holes in it. It's hand-me-down shoes with big holes going to school. I never did complain because I know, and I had that strong faith in my heart that one day I could have a really good life. And now, fast forward, I am living the dream. It happened. I have things. I am not rich, but my life is so much better than way back when I was growing up. I could not even afford to buy anything, even just clothes or underwear or something. But now I have a much better life. And it's all because I never give up on my dream. And I believe in my dream. Whoever is watching this right now, don't lose hope. A dream is achievable. It is achievable if you believe in it. And if you work hard to get it, because those dreams are not gonna just come to you magically unless you're an extremely lucky person, maybe like winning a lottery or something. But first you need to set your dream clear. You need to know, what do you really want. Believe that you can, because you can. You can. If you have that strong faith in your heart that you can really do what you set your heart to do, then you can. And I truly believe that. And the way you manifest this is to work your hardest to get there and never give up. Well, I mean, there are things that sometimes you need to like call it a quit, but we'll talk about that maybe in the other episode. So try it. I ask you to try it, to dream, to believe, and to work hard for your dreams. I'm telling you guys, whatever your situations right now, you can change your reality. For me, I was determined to change my reality, and I did. Now I'm living in the United States, living the dream because I believed in my dream. Thank you for watching, and remember, create your dream life. Bye.